So this is May June 2018 paper 1. Question 1, they want us to evaluate the following pair of fractions. So we just need to find the LCM of 11 and 7, which is 77. So multiplying 4 by 7 and then 2 by 11, and we have this common LCM here. Now we have 7 into 11, which gives us 77. So basically we just need to simply subtract this, and our final answer would be 6 by 77. Now we have to evaluate this 0.9 into 0.011. So basically the way to multiply this is you can either multiply it manually the way you count the decimals, or you know that 9 into 11 is 99, and you just need to count the number of the digits after the decimal. So there are 4 digits after the decimal. So basically the decimal you're going to put now is supposed to be after 4 digits. So this is going to be 0.0099. So Cecile bought a camera for 120, and after 2 years he sold it for 90. So obviously it's a loss. Calculate the percentage loss. So basically you need to find the difference over the actual, and you need to find the percentage for it. Basically the actual price of the camera is this one. So you have to find the difference over the actual. So the difference would be 120 minus 90, and over the actual price, which is 120. And we need to find the percentage, so this is going to be into 100. So our final answer would be 25%. So he had a loss of 25%. Some money is shared between Miriam and Nina in the ratio 2:3. So what percentage of the total money does Miriam receive? Basically, she receives 2 and Nina receives 3. So we need to find out the total ratio first, which would be 2 plus 3, which is 5. And out of the 5, Miriam receives 2. So we need to find the percentage. We need to multiply this by 100%, and our final answer is going to be 40%. Now we have part C, and they've given us 2 ratios, A ratio B, which is 5:6, and B ratio C, which is 3:8. So we have to find this combined ratio. Now we can see that B and B are common here. So what we can do is we can make a new ratio in which we have the ratio of B as 1, and we can then account for all the other ratios. So if we have A ratio B as 5:6, so if B is 1, what ratio would A be? So this is a simple ratio formula, and likewise A would be 5/6. B ratio C is 3:8. So if B is 1, what would C be? And this is again a straightforward ratio. So C would be 8/3. So basically the ratios that we are having are 5/6, 1, and 8/3. But these ratios are supposed to be in whole numbers. So we just need to remove this fraction of A and B. So to do that, we could multiply the whole fraction by 6. What would happen here is, you multiply this whole ratio by 6. When you multiply 5/6 by 6, it comes into 5. 6 into 1 is 6, and 8/3 into 6 would be, if you have 6 and 8/3, 3 ones are, 3 twos are, and 2 into 8 is 16. So this is your final ratio. Now we have question number 3, and we have to arrange the 5 numbers in order starting the smallest. So this is very straightforward. The larger the negative number, the smaller it has value. So the smallest value here is minus 1.2, and the largest value here is 1.3. Likewise, we're just gonna list them down. So now they want us to find the mean of the numbers. Basically, just to find the mean, you have to add all of these numbers. You have to take care of the negative and positive sign as well. And there are 5 numbers. You need to divide this by 5, and your mean amount comes out to be 0.01. And to find the range, basically the range is the difference between the highest number and the smallest number, which is the highest number is 1.3, and you have to subtract minus 1.2. Again, we have to take care of the negative sign, and so our final answer is 2.5. Now we have question number 4, and question number 4 says that y is inversely proportional to the square of x. So this is our standard expression that they're telling us. Now we have to remove this and add an equals to. So we have y is equal to k over x squared. Basically, they've given the first set of values here, and for we need to find k. So these first set of values help us find k. So when y is equal to 10 and x is equal to 3, so 3 squared is 9, what would k be? So k is 90. Now we have to formulate a new expression, which is y is equal to 90 over x squared. So now they want us to find y when x is equal to 1 by 2. So y is basically 90 divided by x squared, so divided by 1 by 2 square. So 90 divided by 1 by 4, and when you have to remove the division sign, you take the reciprocal and you add an equals to. So this is going to be 360. Y would be equal to 360. So this is a very straightforward question. We need to factorize 25t squared minus 4. This is this expression right here. So 5t whole square minus 2 square, and then we have 5t minus 2 multiplied by 5t plus 2. So now we have this part b and we need to factorize this. So we have the like terms with each other, so we do not need to rearrange this. We take x as common, x minus 6, and likewise we take minus 3. We take minus 3 because we have to change the sign of this 18 right here. So minus 3y. Here we have 6 minus 6, x minus 6 as well. So we have these two common brackets here and the factors too. So list them down and we have x minus 3y and x minus 6. So now we have question 6. A rectangle has a length of 64 millimeters and a width of 37 millimeters, each correct to the nearest millimeter. So the nearest millimeter means that the error is 1 divided by 2, which is going to be 0.5 millimeters. So we have to write down the lower bound for the length. So if the length was 64, the lower bound would be 0.5 less 64. So this is going to be 63.5. So now we have to calculate the lower bound for the perimeter of the triangle. So the perimeter is basically 2 length plus 2 width, and we need to find the lower bound. So we need to use the lower bounds of the lengths and widths. So we have 2. Just find out the length, lower bound, which was 63.5 plus the width was 37, and 37 less 0.5 is 36.5. And if you solve for this, your final answer would be 200. So now we have question number 7 here, and they've given us this figure. Triangle OPQ is part of a figure that has a rotational symmetry of order 2 about 0.0. So we have to complete the figure. When something basically rotational symmetry is how many times you revolve a shape and it comes back to its original form. When you have a rotational symmetry of order 2, that basically means it has one line of symmetry. So what you should try is that you should make a figure that would have one line of symmetry. So basically, if you continue this here and make this, you would have a shape with order 2 symmetry. So now the diagram shows a circle in its center and 2 chords. We have to add one more chord so the diagram has one line of symmetry. So basically, you can use this dot here to guide you. Either this can be your line of symmetry and you can make a chord here, or there's another option. You can also make this your line of symmetry and you can make another chord here. So either of the two, you can make any one you want. So now we have question 8, and it's a very straightforward question. Again, this is an algebraic fraction, so you still need to find the LCM. You don't need to find the LCM, but it's an algebraic expression. You have an equals to sign in the middle, so you just need to get all of these values in your denominator. So to convert this here, we need to cross multiply. We need to take the 3x on the other side and this on the other side. Simply solving this, taking all of the x's on one side, we have 11x is equal to minus 11, and if we solve for this, we have our x as minus 1. So we have question 9 now. We have to express each of the following in a single fraction in simplest form. So we have to take the LCM here. Now we have to know that they both have a, so there's going to be no multiplications of a. But they need to have a common number. They have a common letter, but they don't have a common number. So the LCM of 2 and 3 is 6. So basically, you have to multiply this whole expression by 2 and this by 3, not by a, because both of them have a. Basically, 2 into 2 plus 5 into 3, and we have 6a as our LCM here. And if we solve for this, we have 19 divided by 6a as our answer. Now for the following expression, we need to remove this division sign here. So obviously we are going to use the multiplication sign and take the reciprocal of this term here. Simplify this, move the b's, and you're left with 2b by 3 as your final answer. And question number 10, we have to write each number correct to two significant figures, and we have to calculate an estimate of the following. So when you convert 596 into two significant figures, and you have to convert this line, this is going to be automatically a 0 because it's going to give a 1 to here. So this is going to be 600 into two significant figures of this is 16. And two significant figures, we have to round it up to this 9 here. So this is going to be converted into a 0 again. So under root 16 is a 4. And we have a 0.3. Basically, to remove this point here, you can multiply this by 10. You have 6,000 into 4 divided by 3. You can simply multiply and divide, and your final answer is going to be 8,000. Now we have question number 11, and they've given us this very straightforward function here, and they want us to find the value when f is 2. So basically just have to substitute this x with minus 2 here. So 1, 3, minus 2 plus 2. And if you solve for this, your final answer is going to be negative 1 by 4. Now you have to find the inverse of this function. So basically, first off, you need to write this down, that f of x is equal to y. So basically, which means this function right here is now equal to y, and now you have to make x a subject. So 3x plus 2 is equal to 1 over y. We take the 2 on the other side. Now you should try and take the LCM, because when you're going to divide this whole by 3, it's going to be confusing if you haven't taken the LCM. So basically 1 minus 2y over y. And if you're going to divide this by 3 now, so x is going to be 1 minus 2y divided by 3y. So this is your expression in terms of y. To write this down as well. And they want it for x. So we just need to substitute the value of y and x. So here is our inverse function. So now they've given us question 12. A dice is thrown 400 times. The results are shown in the table. So they've given us the throws and the frequency. So find the relative frequency of throwing dice number 2. So basically, relative frequency is the fraction of that frequency against the total number of frequencies. So basically, we have a total of 400 times, and the relative frequency of number 2 is 80. Not the relative, but the frequency of number 2 is 80. So basically, what we need to do is we just need to divide this by 400, and the relative frequency is 1 by 5. So Imran throws a dice 1,000 times. How many times would you expect the number 2 to be thrown? So expect means means obviously the mean. So basically what you really need to do is, we have a general formula. If you call this probability P, and if you call the number of times it's thrown in, so the expected time something happens or occurs is basically NP. So you have 1,000 into 1 by 5, which gives your final answer as 200. So this is the expected number of times. So now you have question number 13. And in a school, 270 children, the distance each child can swim was recorded. The distance are summarized in the table. So basically what you need to do is you need to find the frequency density. So what the formula for the frequency density is basically the frequency over the class width. Now the class width here is the length of this interval, which is 100 minus 0, which is 100. And likewise 200 minus 100, which is 100 again. So frequency density is frequency over class width. So 110 divided by 100 would give us the frequency density here, which is 1.1. Likewise, if we solve for the next ones, using the same formula, we have the following frequency densities. So we have to calculate an estimate for the number of children who could swim more than 400 meters. So if more than 400 meters are in this interval here, but this interval starts at 200. There's a 200, there's a 300, and there's a 500 in this interval. So basically this 60 can be, if we take an estimate, is divided between these three values, and 400 is going to lie somewhere here. So basically 60 divided by 3, and obviously this is greater than 400 plus 50, so we have 20 plus 50, which would give 70 students as our estimate of the people who would swim more than 400 meters. So now we have question 14. An irregular polygon has 22 sides. We have to calculate the sum of all its interior angles. So basically the sum of the interior angles, we have a very straightforward formula, is n minus 2 into 180, in which n indicates the number of sides of the polygon. So we have 22 minus 2 into 180, we have 20 into 180, and if we solve for this, we have 3600 as our answer. So two of the angles in the polygon are 170, and the remaining 20 angles are equal to each other. So if they're equal to each other, they're 20 in number, so our 20 angles are 20x. So calculate the size of one of these 20 angles. So we need to find our answer for x. So we have two angles of 170, and we have 20 angles of x, and this sums up to 3600. And if we calculate for x over here, we have 163 as our final answer. So now we have question number 15. They've given us these matrices and set of information here. So type 30 packets sold for a profit of 1.20 on each packet, so 30 and 1.2, and 20 packets sold for a profit of 2, so 20 and 2. And then they have type 80, which is 40, and it's sold for a loss of 0.5, and 30 and sold for a profit of 3. So basically we need to work out the following. We need to multiply this with this with this. Basically, if we have this right here, which is 30 and 20, multiplied by this matrix right here, this is 36 plus 40, it's going to be 76. Again, if we have 40 and 30, so we need to multiply this. We have minus 20 plus 90, and this is going to be 70 right here. So we have this negative sign in the middle, so basically we have to subtract the two answers, and our final answer is 6. So basically we have to explain the meaning of our answer that we just found out. So basically it's the difference in profit between week 1 and week 2. Between week 1 and week 2. So now we have question number 16. The masses of 200 beetles were measured. The results are summarized in a cumulative frequency table, and part of the cumulative frequency curve is drawn. So basically here we have the table, and they want us to complete the cumulative frequency table. So basically all you have to do is they have drawn till 2. So basically you just need to complete the values. So if you have 150 here, 150 over here, you will have 170 at 2.25, and then you would have 185 at 2.5. So 185 would lie somewhere here, and you have 203, so you just need to complete this. So we have to use the curve to find an estimate for the median. So basically the median is half of your total frequency. Your total frequency is 200. So that comes out to be 100. So basically this answer is not going to be your answer. You have to trace this back. You have to trace this 100 back on the grid, on the graph, sorry. And whatever answer you have to put that down. If I have 1.6 or 1.65 or 1.7, I have to write that down. So 1.7. Now I have to find the lower quartile. The lower quartile is basically 1 over 4 of the total frequency. Basically 1 over 4 of the total frequency right here would give me 50. So I have to trace back this value, which would give me 1.3. The number of beetles that have a mass greater than 1.85 grams. So basically we have 1.85 grams somewhere here, and we have to trace this back. Now if we are to quote a value over here, say if we have 200 here and we need to quote a value, what we have 125, we quote this value 125. So basically the number of beetles that have a mass greater than this, we had calculated the mass of beetles who had a mass less than 1.85, which was say 125. So they want a mass, the number of beetles who had a mass greater than this. So we have a total number of 200 beetles, and so we will subtract the mass of those beetles that were less than 1.85 grams. So our final answer would be 75. So now we have question number 17, and they've given us a diagram of a pyramid and the square base. They told us that there is a square base of h3 and the base is horizontal and the vertex E is vertically above D. So basically this part is going to look like this. This part is going to be a little longer than these parts right here because the vertex E is not equally away from each of these sides. So on the grid below, we have to complete the accurate drawing of the net of the pyramid. So if it's right here, this is 3, this is going to be 5 right here, because if this is 4, this is 3, and this is a right angle. If we use the Pythagoras theorem, we have this 5 here. So obviously if this is the right angle here, the other side is going to be 5 as well. So basically if we had 4 here and we need to trace back, there's a right angle over here, so obviously there's going to be a straight line here, but this time this is going to be 5 because the vertex is not vertically above all of these points. Likewise, there's this right angle there, so this is going to be 5. So now we just need to find the total surface area of the pyramid. We have this square, we have these two triangles, and then we have these two triangles. So we just need to find for the square, which is 3 into 3, plus for the two triangles 1 over 2 into 4 into 3, and for the other two sets, which are 1 into 2 into 5 into 3. So basically this is what we have, and if we solve for this, we have 9, we have 12, and we have 15. We have to add all these, and our final answer is 36. Now we have question number 18, and the region R is defined by the inequalities. So on the diagram, we have to shade the region. So basically we have a lot of equations here. We have x is equal to 2, we have x is equal to 8, we have y is equal to 5, y is equal to 10, and we have x plus y is equal to 10. Basically, we need to map them out first. This is x is equal to 2, x is equal to 8, y is equal to 5, and y is equal to 8, and x plus y is equal to 10. So this is basically going to be this equation right here. So the region that's defined by these inequalities is that x is greater than 2 and it's less than 4. So basically, it's going to be more than this line but less than this line. Likewise, it shows that x and y are between this square right here, this rectangle right here in this rectangle. But this inequality tells us that x plus y is greater than or equals to 10. So basically, the shaded region should be above this line inside this rectangle, so it's going to be this region right here. You have to label it R. This region is going to be R. So we have question number 19. For question number 19, they've given us this diagram. Now you should be very careful that you draw it to scale. I can't draw it to scale here, but on the diagram, construct a perpendicular bisector of AB. So basically, you have to place your compass at A first and then at B, and you need to make RX of more than half of this length of AB. And if you join this, you get the perpendicular bisector. Now the diagram construct the locus points inside the triangle that are 7 centimeters from C. So basically what 7 centimeters from C means that you need to make a circle of radius C with center, circle with radius 7 with center C. So that would be something as such. So now we have to make something equidistant from AB and AC, which means we need to find an angle bisector of the angle A, because AB and AC, so A and A is common here, which indicates it's an angle bisector of A. Basically, you need, just as you found the perpendicular bisector, this time you need to find the angle bisector, which is going to be someplace like this. Basically, because my diagram is not to scale, I won't get the very definite points here, but you have to find the extreme possible values of position P, which are equidistant from AB. So they're basically going to be on this line right here somewhere, and nearer to and more than 7 centimeters from C. So it's basically going to be out of this circle and nearer to AC than to AB. So they're going to be on this side here. So basically this can be either this point, but if you have drawn it to scale, you would find that this is actually the point of intersection of all of these locus points. So you can be able to identify P1 and P2. So now we have question 20 here, and they've given us this set of this standard form here. We have to give our answers in standard form, the value of n into 700. So n is 2 into 10 power 8, and then we have 700. So basically, you can multiply this 700 by 2 and leave the 10 as it is. So this is going to be 1400 into 10 power 8. Now 1400 is not its standard form, so you have to, if the decimal is here, the decimal needs to move back 3 places. So 1.4, and we need to, because it moved back 3 places, we need to add 3 to this 10. This is 1.4 into 10 power 11. And now we have 1 by n, which is 1 by 2 into 10 power 8. So now what we do is we leave the 1 by 2 as it is, and we take this 10 to the numerator, and so this would become a negative power. Now we know that 1 by 2 is 0.5 into 10 power minus 8. Now 0.5 again is not in standard form. In standard form, the decimal should be at least before after one number, so it should be 5. And because the decimal is moving forward, we have to subtract 1. So we have 5.0 into 10 power minus 9. So we have to find the smallest positive integer m, that mn is a cube number. So basically, this is 2 into 10 power 8. And if you multiply this by 5, this would be 2 5s are 10 into 10 power 8. So basically this would be 10 power 9. And basically 10 power 9, if you take the cube root of 10 power 9, that gives you 1000. Because if you take the square of 1000, with m is going to be 5 here, because we just multiplied 5. But if you take the cube of 1000 here, you end up with this, which is this 10 power 9 right here. So m is going to be 5. So now you have question 21. They've given you 4 terms in a sequence of numbers. So basically we need to evaluate u5. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So the fifth one is going to be 5. We have 3, 4, 5, 6. This is going to be 7. And we have 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is going to be plus 6 square. So we simply have to evaluate this, and this would be 71. So this is our answer for the fifth sequence. So the nth term of a sequence un is of the form of the following. So we need to write down, there's no calculation involved, we just need to see what the values, how if you could plug in one value, how would the other value change. So we have to write down the value of P and Q. So we could see that if the term is the fourth one, if you want to find this P right here, if the term is the fourth one and you want to find this P right here, this is actually 2 more than the actual term. So P is going to be 2 and Q is going to be, you can find this out because you know that Q has a square over here. So the other squared number, because this is supposed to be n, this does indicate if this is the first sequence, it has 1 here. So this is n, this is P, and because this Q would be a square here, so this is Q. And whatever the term number is, this is going to be 1 squared, so this is Q is going to be 1. So you can also write this in the form an squared plus bn plus c. So we have to find out the values of this. So to do this, what you need to do is first you need to open this up. We have np. So for the simplifying this, we have 2n squared plus 3np plus q squared. Basically, if you compare this to this formula right here, so we can simply find out a here, which is 2. We can't find b because we have this additional 3 here, this 3 and this p. So basically, and we know that this c is q, and we know that q was 1 here. So c is equal to 1. Now we have the value for 2, we have the value of a, we have the value of c, we have n, we can use any term number formula. If we use this right here, if the first term gives an answer of 7, so if n is 1, a is 2, we have no idea what P is. Basically, if we substitute the value of 3, n is 1, and P, which is going to be B, plus C, which is 1, this is going to give you an answer of 7. So basically, this is, sorry, we're using not 3, we're using this one right here. So this is a single Bn plus 1. So this is going to be P, n is going to be 1 because we're taking term number 1, plus 3 is equal to 7. So if we solve for P, our answer would be 4. And so A is 2, B is 4, and C is 1. Now we have question 22 here, and they've given us this circle, and all of these angles are inside the circle, and they've given us that the tangents at A and B meet at D. So basically, the two tangents, when they meet at a single point, this means that these two sides are equal, and they've given us this 62 here, and they've given us this 53 right here as well. So we need to find x. We have x right here, so this is basically an angle at the end. So basically this is going to be 53 into 2, because angle at center is half equal to angle at side, and if this is the angle at side, we have to multiply this by 2 to give us the angle at the center. Is going to be 106. Now we need to find y. We have 106 here. This is cyclic quadrilateral, so we just need to subtract this 106 from 180, and our final answer is going to be 74. Now we need to find z. So because these two sides are equal, this is going to be a z again, and we have this 62 here. This is a right straightforward triangle, and we have 62 plus 2z, which would give us 180. 62. And if we solve for z, we get 59 as our answer. And then we have to find t, which is right here. So basically this t is going to be half of this angle, because it's an angle that converges these tangents. So 62 divided by 2 would give us 31. So now we have question number 3, and we have to find the matrix X such that 2a plus x is equal to b. So we have this one here, we have this one, but we don't have this. So 2a plus x should be equal to b. So we have to find x. So b minus 2a is going to give us x. So we have b, which is 6 minus 3, 0, and minus 2. And we need 2a, so we just need to multiply this vector a by 2, which would give us 8 minus 2, 4, and 0. And if we solve for this, our x would be minus 2, minus 1, minus 4, and minus 2. So we need to find the matrix Y such that when we multiply A and Y, it would give us the following matrix. So this indicates if you multiply any matrix, which is this one, with its inverse, it would always give you 1, 0, 0, 1. So basically, they're just asking you to find the inverse of this matrix in other terms. So basically, you had matrix A, which was 4 minus 1, 2, 0. So you need to find the determinant first, which would be 4 into 0 minus 1 into 2, which gives you 2. So to set up the inverse of the matrix, so you have 1 over 2 to the reciprocal of the determinant, and you shift the two numbers here, and you change the signs of these two numbers. So basically, this is your matrix Y. So now we have question number 24 over here. So triangle A is mapped onto triangle B by a translation chord by enlargement with center 10 and minus 4. So this is your center here. The translation maps triangle A onto triangle C, and the enlargement maps triangle C onto triangle B. Write down the scale factor of the enlargement. You could see if the original triangle has 3 sides here, this has 6. So 6 divided by 3 would give you 2. So your enlargement factor is 2. So now we have to draw triangle C on a grid. So basically, if we trace back, because it's a translation of A and it's supposed to be smaller, if we trace back from the angle over here, we have triangle with the following vertices. So this is basically going to converge over here. So we need to find the column vector that represents the translation that maps A onto C. So this is very straightforward. If you look at this one here, this vertex right here, this is at 0 and 0. And the same vertex moved to 5 and a minus 1 here. So if you can use this, you can visually see that this 0, 0, 0 moved 5 and minus 1. So the column vector that changed this, or the translation, is 5 and minus 1. So now you have question number 25, and in the diagram they show you a speed time graph for the first 60 seconds of the train's journey, and they haven't given you the exact numerical value for the speed here. They've just given you u, so they want you to find all of the expressions in terms of u. So basically we have to find the deceleration for the last 10 seconds. So basically change in speed, which is u minus 0, over change in time, which is 50 minus 60. Basically, deceleration, you do not need to add the negative sign. So this is basically u minus 0 over 60 minus 50, which would give you u over 10 as your answer. Now we have to find the speed when t equals 55. So basically, you have a common acceleration over here. Basically, what you have to do is 55 is halfway between 50 and 60, so you just need to do this. Your answer would be u by 2. Sorry, we're going to multiply it by 5 because we have acceleration here, speed over time. The time is 5 seconds from this actual one, so if we multiply the acceleration and the time, we would get the speed. So the time was 5 seconds. This is our acceleration, and our answer is going to be u by 2. So we have to calculate the distance traveled during these 60 seconds. So basically, it's a trapezium. The formula for a trapezium is 1 over 2 into length into sum of side 1 and side 2. So basically, we have 1 by 2, and our length is u, and one of our sides is 50, and one of our sides is 60 and 50. We just need to add 50 plus 60, So we have a final answer of 55 U, which is going to be our distance traveled in the 60 seconds.